One of those challenges which is going to be upcoming, which we have not yet handled, all of us, and that includes worldwide, not just in India, is when the recycling starts seriously. Our ability, traceability of these materials which are recycled is very limited. It's based on trust because the product which is recycled once, twice, thrice, 4 times will all have different performance. And the failure point could be that 0.1% which is recycled 10 times is in a bottle. That will be a failure point. So we need to get to that stage where we also bring in technologies to see how do we do traceability of the recycled materials we use. First time is no issues. Probably even the second time is no issues. There are some experiments we have run internally in our company is, if it is pure material run in a lab 4 or 5 times, you start to see some minimal drop. But if this product is exposed to its typical use, it starts to drop rapidly. And the first time is not the issue. Second time, and somewhere by 4th, 5th, 6th time, we will see failures. And we don't know how to control that. What part of the recyclate is coming in at the 5th or 6th time. By the way, why am I saying this 5th or 6th time? There's an interesting information you should all know. Nearly 2/3 is in packaging. And the packaging's whole life cycle is less than 1 year. 0 to 12 months, they will all return from use. Unlike appliances, unlike you're talking about construction, they take 25-35 years to come back to recycle. But the packaging will come back max 12 months. So it means now this is going to quicken up when we do it. So that's going to be a challenge for us. But since the thoughts are out, the questions are out, I'm sure we can find an answer. Lastly, I would like to summarize for this ecosystem, I would say put it into just 3 main headings. To start with, I would say responsible use by manufacturers, because this is coming in how you design your product. What shelf life do you need? If you need 3 months, don't design it for 9 months. Then you start to put extra layers, extra coating, and you try to make it unnecessarily non-recyclable. So design for recycling. Responsible use by original producers and manufacturers. Responsible disposal. I think this is going to be one of our biggest challenges because we need the entire community to support into this aspect. Only if they dispose responsibly, then we can recycle responsibly. So I think these are all interconnected. This is not something, even though India is very poor, I have learned, sir, one of the hard facts why recycling is difficult, and now it is getting more difficult, is somebody actually gave me this calculation of this flower plastic bags. You need 3,000 bags to make 1 kg of that. Who is going to bend 3,000 times a day to pick up this for 300 rupees wages? Even the poorest of the poor in the country will not do it, because we had somehow offloaded all this to really the poverty to handle it. That's not going to work anymore. So we need to be responsible at the disposal stage. So I think with these 3 messages, let's use it responsibly, let's dispose responsibly, and let's recycle responsibly. I end my short note, and I would like to welcome Udeep to give his broader details of the industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jaya. It's difficult to follow up after Jaya, but I'll anyways try. What role does plastics play in our society, and also why it is a necessary evil as it is called, and what we can do to manage, and all of us in this room, what role can we play to manage the plastic waste as such. So first of all, I think it's very hard to imagine a life without plastics, be it syringes in hospitals, our smartphones, vehicle parts, and so on. Plastics are indeed indispensable because of their myriad of properties, be it lightweighting, which enables auto parts that in turn saves millions of tons of fuel every year across the globe, their durability and versatility that enables applications across mobility, electronics, and healthcare, the affordability of plastics, which makes it accessible to millions across the globe, and moreover, a complete replacement of plastics with alternative materials, with let's say a glass, paper or metal, is not only going to increase the cost, but also increase the life cycle emissions. So in that light, the issue is not the plastics themselves. The issue is what we do with plastics after we use them. It is true that at the current rate in which we are generating the plastic waste, by some estimates by 2060, by weight there will be more plastics in ocean than fish. By the time we are all done with this session today, we would have dumped more than 500 dumper equivalents of plastics in our oceans globally. So plastics are essential, but unmanaged plastics are a ticking environmental time bomb. So the choice is not plastics or no plastics. The choice is waste or wealth. In India, coming close to home, with our rising urbanization, consumption, e-commerce, anywhere between 5 to 10 million tons of plastic waste that we generate every year is only going to increase. The challenge is real. However, the good news is we even currently recycle by any estimates 40 to 60% of the plastic waste that gets generated, thanks to lakhs of informal sector workers, be it rag pickers, aggregators, and small recyclers who keep our cities clean and functioning but hardly find any mention. On the other hand, we also see plastics have created vibrant economic hubs. To take Silvassa and Daman for an example, producing packaging, films, containers, household goods, both for our domestic consumption as well as for exports. You take Vapi along with the chemical cluster, we understand the employment that cluster has generated. And there are other examples like Panipat, I talked about Paradeep and so on. These hubs remind us that plastics are not just materials, but they are an engine for employment and innovation. The real opportunity, we believe, in India is to formalize and scale this trend. If we are able to marry sustainability with job creation, this can become a national advantage, delivering cleaner cities, creating millions of green jobs, and putting India at the forefront of sustainable development. Take Indore, for example. Year after year, it is ranked as the cleanest city in India. The secret lies not in one big intervention, but it is really about a set of disciplined practices across the plastics value chain. Importantly, after we have used them, be it door-to-door collection, strict segregation at source, and partnerships of municipalities, civic bodies with recyclers and waste pickers, the informal economy, and so on. And as a result, what once used to clog the drains of Indore and fill up the landfills is now producing material for fuel, for road construction, as well as recyclable inputs for the industry, what we call recyclables. So Indore proves that when citizens, government and industry come together, we can really create waste to wealth. And similar examples are in different scale cropping up all across the country. In Pune, with Swachh there, Hyderabad, parts of Kerala and so on. On the industry side, we see EPR taking root. We see, for example, if you take FMCG companies, they are currently piloting systems across the recycling value chain, be it take-back systems for, especially for packaging, what Jaya highlighted as the biggest sort of an issue within the plastic waste because of how often they sort of come back in the environment, setting up collection centers and partnering with recyclers. Some are even experimenting with traceability systems, and I will not go into the detail, but many of you will agree that to use plastics, recycled plastics for certain applications and to really create total sort of a circular system, we would need traceability systems as well. So if these are scaled, while these are pilots today, these are scaled nationally, such models can create a closed loop system which can really be a true foundation for a circular economy. A plastic bottle, we believe, should have more than one life, and in India we can make that happen. I'd like to conclude this talk with a call to action to all the stakeholders, be it government, the industry, and all of us as citizens. For the government, two key takeaways that I'd like to deal with is number one, to sort of set up, refine and enforce these standards, either through EPR and beyond EPR, but those which are data-driven, contextual and practical in our given context. And two, to support infrastructure development and advance the technology development through subsidies, viability gap fundings, and so on. For the industry, it would really benefit if you all adopted the design principles of 3 Rs, which we at CII use to advise our clients not just to embed circularity in their operations, but also to save costs. These principles are of, as I said, 3 Rs. Number one, reduce. How do you make lesser and lesser use of plastic packaging, thinning of walls of packaging, for an example, and so on. The second is reuse, to make it more efficient for consumers to reuse the bottles, the packaging, and so on. And number three, make it amenable for recycling, what JR was also highlighting here. Things like using more and more monomaterials and likes. Finally, for the civic society, for us as citizens of this country, really one big ask is to strictly follow segregation at source. I know there are practical difficulties. Even if we segregate what happens at the municipality and what happens at the collection end and so on, but then a lot of us, a majority of us, live in cities where these systems are relatively well defined, and us segregating at source will really go a long way. And that's it. That's the sort of the starting point where it all begins. So with that, I will just quickly leave all of us with a thought that if we in India turn plastic waste into engines of job, employment and innovation, we would solve not just our problem, but we really have an opportunity to inspire the world. And with that, I take the lead. Thank you.
It's always a pleasure to be among, the plastic industry, because whenever any such event happens, whatever is the outlook, whatever are the circumstances, I'm sure the hall will always be full, and we will just see the smiling faces with a lot of positivity. So, as you know, the business outlook, especially for the sporters, is a bit of challenging right now. But still, the confidence which you exude is good for us to know actually, and basically this is built on, this confidence is built on the kind of support which our industry or any industry is having. That support is having the confidence of having 140 crores consumers. As Janardanji has pointed out, last quarter growth was 7.8%, highest in the world, and this is likely to continue. And in the years to come, this growth is likely to accelerate more with the new policies, and even now, GST rationalization, then budget cuts. So consumption is going to increase, and whenever the consumption will increase, for any sector, the one part goes to plastics. because this is the one material which nobody can do without. Even if FMCG grows up, people drink more cola, people consume more snacks, and we bring more soaps, detergents, the packaging industry is always there, and that demand grows within the country itself. So demand for the plastic industry is going to be on the upward curve for the years to come. But then there is a question on which this conclave is built on, the sustainability part. As more and more packaging goes in, and more the consumers will discard those produce. So now, there is a growing unease in the society with the consumers. With the pollution, of course, consumers, myself included, we are to blame for this pollution mainly. We don't segregate our produce, we just throw it away, and it goes out to the landfills, in the water bodies, then finally, as Dilip has pointed out, goes to the oceans as well. Of course, it is our belief that there is a one full island, if you know, that this created in Pacific. I think that is all full of plastics, but that is not Indian plastics. Because our contention always was in the international conferences, our plastic will not reach that level, and the advanced countries were using plastics much before us. Only they taught us how to make plastic products. So, responsibility lies elsewhere also. But I would just like to point out two things. In fact, I was not there in that the treaty. The world has now come forward, and they are negotiating a treaty to ban plastic pollution. So, very recently, last month, one meeting happened in Geneva, Switzerland. So I was not there, but many of you were there in that treaty. So basically, two things where most of the focus right now is. I won't say that as a country we accept those principles as such, but that's where the negotiations are happening, that's where the focus is. So I would like to point out just two things. The one is, which is called in the treaty negotiation parlance as problematic plastic products. We are one of the few countries in the world which has banned single-use plastic products. Even plastic cutlery items, then straws, then earbuds, then panni, that panni which is less than 120 microns thickness. So this is the first item, the items which are most likely to be legal. So that is already done, which is like one of the very few countries which have actually regulated those products. Legal part is there. Of course, implementation part, if you belong to the South Indian part, there is more compliance. The North Indian part, the compliance is slow but picking up. Yeah, with those things. And so in the future, next 2, 3, 4 years, I suppose that will be settled. We are one of the few countries which have a very, very robust EPR system. Extended Producers Responsibility System, which, as already two speakers before me have pointed out, is picking up now and getting established. I would just like to point out here, the more responsibility is on the brand owner, because they are the persons who benefit the most from plastic packaging, and they are the persons who introduce these plastics to the consumers. So then it goes on to the plastic producers, and then it goes to even the manufacturers or importers of. That's our system, and this is going to pick up. But there is another aspect which we need to work on. That is that plastic products which are having chemicals. The word is chemicals of concern. The chemicals which pose a hazard to the human health or risk. One part of the word is telling that you have to ban them. Okay. So this is one part. So chemical part is something which we are still trying to do. Whatever lists come out, we have already regulated those. So they call it the phthalate in the children's toys. That is banned through our quality control orders. Okay. So they call it BPA. That is, we have regulated that in children's feeding bottles through another quality control order. They say that don't use microplastics. That is banned, intentional use of microplastics in cosmetics or, face wash we used to have and all. That is banned through another quality control order through CDSO order which control the drugs and cosmetics. So those parts are already done, but there will be more and more kind of chemicals which will come out. So that is one. Another part where a lot of debate is happening is they are asking for international standards for product designs. That directly concerns the plastic producers or the converters, where the standards will be made for reuse, refurbishability, then for recyclability, and using that international standards will be made and every country will have to adopt that. Of course, we are opposing that it has to be done in national circumstances, on national circumstances basis. And India is one of the countries where almost everything is reused. We bring up polythene bag and that is used for at least 10 times. Whenever it is going to be finished, that is the only time when we throw it away. So, but we need to consider that, and just I am talking to the saying to the industry, or my appeal is to the industry that let's adopt these practices ourselves on a voluntary basis. Number one, we will be able to take care of the plastic pollution in our country. Number two, your products will be then world standard products and they will be accepted all over the world. And so if you want to increase your manufacturing capacity or outreach, then these products will be more sought after. So this goes in increasing the market share as well. So I just wanted to have these things before the August gathering which is there, and of course both of these things will require a lot of innovation, R&D and other support which we are ready as a government to always give it to the industry. So basically all the best, and thank you for having me.
Esteemed panelists, may I request JR to present the memento to Shri Deepak Mishra,